Evil Dead has been terrifying and delighting horror fiends in equal measure since 1981, with Sam Raimi's series scarring the soul of anyone with a fear of cabins, forests, and especially cabins in forests. The blood oozing through the squalid heart of the movies is the Necronomicon, aka
Book of the Dead.
Whether it's ultimate horror himbo Ash or the other unfortunate souls who come into contact with the book, the forces it unleashes are thoroughly unpleasant and have a pretty strong sense of humour. To prepare you for the horrors that are bubbling up in Evil Dead Burn, we're going to be your guide through the series' history and how the Necronomicon connects these thrilling and chilling films together. The series begins with The Evil Dead, the original video nasty, in 1981. It's a film that establishes the series template. People read from the Necronomicon, and hell decides to pay a visit to Earth. This is our first introduction to the Kandarian demon and Deadites, but the real star of Sam Raimi's trilogy is Ash. Bruce Campbell plays Ash with such manic gusto he instantly became a horror icon, cementing that legacy in Gonzo's sequel Evil Dead 2. Handily for audiences coming in at the start of Evil Dead 2, the events of the first film are loosely recapped, showing how Ash became trapped alone in the cabin and semi-possessed by a Kandarian demon. From here, the film lets rip, literally in some cases, with an avalanche of set pieces that feature possessed hands climbing up walls, eyeballs flying into mouths, chainsaws being attached to hands, gallons of blood pouring out the walls and floors, and time travel. The result is a film where the screams and laughs flow as freely as the aforementioned blood. In Evil Dead 2, the book foretells that a hero can defeat the source of this evil, who you won't be surprised to learn is Ash.
Groovy.
And the Kandarian demon can be vanquished by reading another passage within the book's gnarled pages. This falls to Annie, a researcher whose parents discovered the book originally. Annie and Ash work together to try and banish the demon, but Annie is stabbed in the back by Ash's severed hand. She's able to complete the ritual, but the process also sends Ash flying back in time as well. With Ash hurled back to the medieval ages, he discovers the true power of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Not only does it create an evil doppelganger, but it summons the titular army for Ash to fight. It's not all bad for Ash though, as the book's time-travelling powers allow him to get safely back to the present. But just because Ash's story has a happy ending doesn't mean that the Necronomicon is dead and buried. Taking a far darker approach to the series' concoction of scares, 2013's Evil Dead is a truly grubby film where you'll feel the need for several long hot showers after watching it. This time around, the Book of the Dead goes by the official title of Naturom Demento, and there's a new group of souls to be tormented by the book. These include Mia, who's trying to kick her heroin addiction, her brother Daniel, and Eric, the well-meaning dolt who inadvertently summons the Taker of Souls by reading from the book the group discovered in the basement. If the black bin bag and barbed wire didn't hint that maybe Eric shouldn't be reading something that looks like Ed Gein's personal diary, the scrawl of "Leave this book alone" inside is very much making the subtext the actual text. Still, curiosity gets the better of Eric, who summons a demon to possess the still in recovery Mia. Instead of the Kandarian demon, this group is dealing with the Taker of Souls, and the forces it unleashes are relentlessly unpleasant. Director Fede Alvarez captures the meanest spirit of the original film with a higher budget, creating some truly horrific bits of nastiness. Simply put, there are household items in this film you will be removing from your home after you've watched it. Once summoned, the Taker of Souls must obtain 5 souls to bring about the abomination, which is, well, a very apt name. After her friends and brother have all been killed, Mia has to confront the abomination on her own. And despite losing a hand, she manages to carve the abomination in half with a chainsaw. It's a suitably full-on end to a full-on film, but you can't keep a good Book of the Dead down, and our next entry sees the Naturom Demento up the ante once again. Initially, Evil Dead Rise feels like a huge shift for the series. It's an Evil Dead film not set in a cabin in the woods, and it also has kids in it, but fear not, because director Lee Cronin knows how to play with your expectations. So A, you'll get a bit of cabin-based shenanigans at the start of the film, and B, it doesn't take long for one of those adorable teens to invite a demon from hell into their tower block. The story this time centres on Beth, a guitar tech who's staying with her sister Ellie and her young family, Danny, Bridget and Cassie. The reunion is cut short when an earthquake reveals the Naturom Demento in the basement of the high-rise block Ellie lives in. Danny brings it back to their apartment, which gives him the honour of being this film's daft sod, who thinks that a book which can only be opened if blood is spilled on it, which has teeth to bind it shut, should be read from cover to cover.
It's just a nick.
Good one, Danny. To give Danny a tiny slither of credit that he's due, he doesn't actually read aloud from the book. Instead, he finds 3 records alongside it which detail how Father Marcus Littleton discovered the book and translated it in secret. Danny tries to stop the recording, but it's way too little, way too late, and the Kandarian demon forces its way back into our world and immediately possesses Ellie. What follows is a sustained assault by the demon on both the residents of the tower block and our fragile senses as we witness a cheese grater. Actually, you know what? It's best if you discover that bit for yourself. Beth and Cassie somehow manage to survive all this and escape the book's latest round of mayhem. But we know it won't be the last time we see this wretched tome. Which leads us to the latest entry, Evil Dead Burn. We won't say too much about the Book of the Dead's latest appearance, but whoever opens it will have some hefty regrets very, very quickly. Also, they'll probably lose an appendage or 3. To make sure you're prepared for all the horrors that await, stream Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead and Evil Dead Rise on Studio Canal Presents, and head to the cinema to watch Evil Dead Burn from the 9th of July.